Hi, third grade friends. It's Mrs. Moore here, and today I get to teach our fourth geometry lesson. By the end of the lesson today, you will be able to compare and contrast quadrilaterals based on their attributes. And you guys know from class that to compare and contrast means to tell how two quadrilaterals are the same or alike, and also how two quadrilaterals are different based on the characteristics that they have. Boys and girls, as always, please make sure you have a piece of paper, a notebook, or your math packet right next to you with a pencil so that you're able to actively participate in this math lesson with me. Let's get started by reviewing the wonderful information that we already know. So, we've spent 3 days now learning about different types of polygons. And a polygon is just a closed shape with 3 or more angles. And polygons have sides. A side is just any line segment with 2 endpoints used to form a polygon. And an angle is different than a side because an angle is formed where 2 sides come together or meet. Would you guys please draw this rectangle very carefully on your paper? Please determine the number of right angles this rectangle has and determine the number of parallel sides that it has from yesterday. So pause the video, draw the rectangle, tell me how many right angles it has and how many pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful work, third graders. So I hope that you drew that rectangle very carefully, and I hope you were able to determine that this rectangle has 4 right angles, because you know a right angle is that special type of angle that's 90 degrees, just like the corner of a square or a rectangle, and it's where 2 perpendicular straight lines come together. It has 4 right angles on this rectangle. You also know that a rectangle has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Who remembers this from yesterday? Parallel sides are sides that are going the same direction, and they're always the same distance apart. A and C are opposite sides that are parallel, and B and D are also parallel sides. Well, this is really convenient because our next slide is all about what we know about parallelograms from yesterday. You know, third graders, that parallelograms are 4-sided shapes that must have 2 pairs of parallel sides. The attributes of parallelograms, or the characteristics that all parallelograms share, is they're all quadrilaterals. Third graders, pause the video and write down what quadrilaterals are. You could even draw a couple. You're right. A quadrilateral is any 4-sided shape. We know for a quadrilateral to be a parallelogram needs to have opposite sides that are parallel, which means always the same distance apart and the same direction. We also know that parallelograms always have opposite sides that are equal or the same length. Okay, I have a fun task for you. Would you draw a T-chart on your paper and label one column parallelograms and one column not parallelograms, and draw 2 parallelograms in the column labeled parallelograms, just like I did on my page, and draw 2 shapes that are not parallelograms in the other column. Pause the video and do this, please. Great work, third graders. So I hope that you remember that parallelograms are quadrilaterals. They're 4-sided shapes that have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Let's test one of these parallelograms to just double check our thinking and make sure that they're actually parallelograms. Let's test this square. So I know that a square is a parallelogram because it has two pairs of parallel sides. So side A is parallel to side C. Side B is parallel to side D. They're going the same direction and they'll always be the same distance apart. Same with these shapes. Every single parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful. These are not parallelograms. Some of them might have one pair of parallel sides, like these two trapezoids. They have one pair of parallel sides, but their other opposite sides are not parallel. And to be a parallelogram, needs to be a four-sided shape that has two pairs of parallel sides. Third graders, pause the video and think about why a triangle is not a parallelogram. You're exactly right. A triangle is not a parallelogram because a triangle doesn't have any pairs of parallel sides and it's not a four-sided figure. A triangle is a three-sided figure and it doesn't have opposite sides that are parallel. So we know that parallelograms have two pairs of parallel sides, and these shapes that are not parallelograms, they don't have two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, so today we're going to look at different quadrilaterals and we're going to compare and contrast them based on their attributes. We're going to say how they're the same and how they're different. Please make sure that you have this page pulled up in your packet or maybe just pulled up on your screen so that this can help you compare and contrast quadrilaterals. So we learned a lot about four different types of quadrilaterals. We learned about squares, which we know are parallelograms, and they have four sides that are all equal length, and they have those four right angles. A rectangle is also a parallelogram. Why is a rectangle a parallelogram? Exactly right. It has two pairs of parallel sides. It also has opposite sides that are equal length and four right angles of 90 degrees, four perpendicular lines that come together to make that perfect right angle. A rhombus is a parallelogram because it also has two pairs of parallel sides. And it has four sides that are equal length. But it's different than a rectangle and a square because you'll see that it doesn't have any right angles. None of its angles come together at 90 degrees. A trapezoid is not a parallelogram because it only has one pair of parallel sides. It also has two sides that are equal length, but not all four like a square. Keep this out because it's really going to help you sort quadrilaterals with me. So this is really fun, boys and girls. You know that a really wonderful way to compare and contrast information is by using a Venn diagram. You guys are going to help me sort these shapes based on their attributes. So we know that the only shapes that go on this side of the Venn diagram are shapes that have all sides equal length. The shapes that go on this side of the Venn diagram have two pairs of parallel sides. The shapes that go in the part where the two circles overlap are shapes that have both of the attributes in the Venn diagram. So they have all equal side lengths and two pairs of parallel sides. Let's go through these shapes and sort them together. Let's do three together, and then I'll let you do some on your own. Let's start with the square. Well, does the square have all sides that are equal length? Yes, each side is the exact same length. Is it a parallelogram? Does it have two pairs of parallel sides? Let's see. One pair, these opposite sides are parallel, and two pairs, these opposite sides are also parallel. So I can put the square labeled A right in the middle because it has all sides that are equal length and two pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful. Let's look at shape B. Okay, does B have all sides that are equal length? What do you think, boys and girls? You're right, not all sides are equal length because I know that this side has the same opposite parallel side length, but these two side lengths aren't the same. So it couldn't go in this side of the Venn diagram. Let's look at the other side. Does it have two pairs of parallel sides? Okay, well, this side is parallel to this side, so there's one pair. And this side is parallel to its opposite side. So yes, it does have two pairs of parallel sides, but not all of the sides are equal length, so it can't overlap with both attributes and it can't go on the left side. So I know shape B belongs in the side of the Venn diagram that says two pairs of parallel sides. Ooh, let's look at C. Okay, so C, does it have all sides that are equal length, boys and girls? Yes. Does it have two pairs of parallel sides? You're right, it does. So this side is facing the same direction. It will always be the same distance apart as its opposite side. And these sides are also parallel. So it gets to go right in the middle. Oh my goodness. Let's look at D. I'm going to let you guys sort D. Where would it go and why? You are exactly right. D does not belong on this Venn diagram because it doesn't have all sides that are equal. Look, this side is much longer than its parallel side. And it also does not have two pairs of parallel sides. How many pairs of parallel sides does D have? Pause the video. You're right, D has only one pair of parallel sides. Where would E and F go and why? You're exactly right. E does have two pairs of parallel sides, but it doesn't have all sides equal length. So I know it would be on this side of the Venn diagram because it only has two pairs of parallel sides. Where would F go? Exactly. F would actually go right in the middle because F does have all sides equal length. And F also does have two pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful job. You guys sort G and H for me. You're exactly right. G and H do not belong on the Venn diagram at all because they don't have all of the sides that are the same length as an attribute, and neither of them have two pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful job. Okay, third graders, now I have a challenge for you. Would you please say what is the name of these shapes in the middle that have both of the attributes, that have all sides equal length and two pairs of parallel sides? Third graders, if you require support with this, would you please get out your quadrilateral vocabulary sheet because that could help you. Who was able to determine what is the name of shape A, C, and F? You are exactly right. They're all rhombi or rhombuses because they all have all sides equal length and two pairs of parallel sides. Wonderful job. So we're going to do a little bit of the assignment together today. Today you'll get to look at two quadrilaterals and compare and contrast them. Say ways that they're alike and ways that are different. I have created a little thinking guide to help you with your thinking, to help you find ways they're the same and different. Read these questions, and this can help you really compare and contrast these shapes. So I have a trapezoid and a rhombus, and I need to say how they're alike and different. I'm going to use my thinking guide to help support, to help me know which attributes to look at to be able to compare and contrast these shapes. The first thing you want to ask yourself when you're comparing and contrasting quadrilaterals are, well, how many sides do the shapes have? Well, both shapes have four sides. So they're both what? What's the name of a polygon with four sides? Exactly, they're both quadrilaterals. So right away, I would write that they're both quadrilaterals. The trapezoid and the rhombus are both quadrilaterals, which means they're both four-sided closed shapes. How else are they alike? Let's see. How many pairs of parallel sides do the shape have? Well, trapezoid has only one pair of parallel sides. Look, these two sides are parallel, but these aren't. Let's look at the rhombus though. The rhombus is a parallelogram. It has two pairs of parallel sides. But what they have in common is both the trapezoid and the rhombus have one pair of parallel sides. So I could say that's another way they're alike. Wonderful. Let's think of any other ways they're alike. Well, the next thing it asks is how many right angles do the shapes have? Well, neither of the shapes have that perfect 90-degree angle where two perpendicular sides come together. So I wrote they're also alike because neither shape has right angles. So I always check my thinking guide. to determine ways they're the same and ways they're different. Let's think of some ways they're different. What's one way a trapezoid and a rhombus is different? Write it down, please. You're right. A trapezoid and a rhombus, well, they're different because a rhombus is a parallelogram. It has two pairs of parallel sides. But a trapezoid is not a parallelogram. It only has one pair of parallel sides. The rhombus and the trapezoid are also different because you'll notice the rhombus has all equal side lengths. The trapezoid does not. Only two of its side lengths are equal. Wonderful. So make sure to always look at your thinking guide because that'll help get you started. This is similar to what your assignment looks like today. So let's do one of these together, third graders. Okay, so it says use math language in geometric terms to explain how these two polygons are alike and how they're different. Well, let's think about how these squares and rectangles are alike. Would you please, on your scratch paper, pause the video and write down any ways that you can think of that the square and rectangles are alike, and use your thinking guide to guide your thinking. Wonderful job. Well, how many sides do both shapes have? Yes, they're both quadrilaterals because both a square and a rectangle have 4 sides. How many parallel sides do both shapes have? You're right. They both have 2 pairs of parallel sides, so they're both what? Parallelograms. Nice job, third graders. How many right angles do squares and rectangles have? You're right, that's another way they're the same. They both have those 4 right angles of 90 degrees. For the square and the rectangle, do they both have all side lengths that are the same? Pause the video and determine. Great job. You're exactly right. The square and the rectangle are different because the square has all equal side lengths. They're all the exact same length. So if this side length was 4, all of the side lengths would be 4 because a characteristic of squares is that all of the side lengths are equal. That's not a characteristic of rectangles. You will see that on a rectangle, it does not have 4 equal side lengths. This side length is longer than this side length. They're not all equal. But as you know, its opposite side lengths are equal because you know that parallelograms have opposite sides that are equal. Absolutely wonderful job, third graders. Here is your assignment. You get to compare and contrast 2 quadrilaterals on your own, and I've helped you get started. To use math language and geometric terms to explain how these 2 polygons, which are quadrilaterals, are alike and how they're different. And to support you, I have included the thinking guide so that you can ask yourself the questions to help you determine the attributes. So we know both the rhombus and the square have 4 sides and 4 angles. So they're what? Quadrilaterals. Both a rhombus and a square have 4 equal side lengths. So that's one way that they're alike. Both are polygons, because a polygon is just any closed shape with 3 or more angles. And both are quadrilaterals. Pause the video and think about some ways they are different. Wonderful. You will get to use your thinking guide and write down ways that they are different. I cannot wait to see the rest of your assignment that you do independently.